So a few weeks ago, I took to my community tab and asked you guys to give me some LEGO Star Wars hot takes, and I'd say the post got a pretty good response, and the reason I did that is because, well, I want to bring the series back. Now, I definitely can't promise an episode every week like I used to do in the past, but I'll try my best to do it more consistently, maybe bi-weekly or at least 2 to 3 times a month. Anyways though, with that being said, if you want to be featured in next week's video or the next hot takes video whenever I do it, make sure to go ahead and leave your hot take down in the comments below, and make sure it's actually a good hot take. Like, look up the definition of a hot take if you don't know what that means. If you see a lot of other people commenting the same thing you're about to comment, that probably means it's not a hot take. Regardless though, this first one comes from Kratos Forever. He says, General Grievous' Starfighter, despite being the terrible price point and lacking minifigure selection, is a solid build. And I assume it's safe to say you're talking about the 2020 General Grievous' Starfighter. That was a very overpriced set and got a lot of hate because of that. It has 487 pieces and had a retail price of $80 back in 2020, which was just ridiculous. And because of that, a lot of people just immediately dogged on this set and looked over every good thing about the build. So yeah, in a way, I definitely agree with you. The build on this set is really good. It's easily the best General Grievous' Starfighter LEGO has made. It's just, for some reason back in 2020, LEGO decided to atrociously overprice this set. I mean, obviously it does have Grievous in there, and Grievous is an expensive figure for LEGO to make, and Grievous sets are usually $10 to $15 more expensive, but $80 is still just pretty crazy. Back in 2020, this thing really should have been about 65 or 70, but it was 80, and because of that, people just straight up overlooked the quality of the build. They just focused on the price point, and this thing has gotten hate ever since. Axe4, I guess that's how you say your name, he says, I don't think there should be more buildable figures. And I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree with this to a certain extent. Recently, LEGO has been releasing a lot of buildable characters, especially this year in 2025. We've already gotten 2, being Chopper and the Grogu set, and we're getting another one in July, as well as 2 more in August. So yeah, I do see where you're coming from, because 5 buildable characters in 1 year is a bit overboard. However, with that being said, the reason I don't agree with you to the full extent is because most of them are actually really good sets, especially the droids. I mean, Chopper from this year and then C-3PO and R2-D2 from last year are really high quality sets, and it looks like the Battle Droid and the K2SO are going to be high quality sets as well. So I don't think they should completely stop making them like your comment suggested, but I do think they should cut back a little. 5 in 1 year is a bit overboard. I think maybe 1 or 2 a year would be better. This next one kind of plays off that last one. It's from The Butcher. He says, LEGO is releasing 2 mini display sets, dioramas, helmets, buildable figures. They should just pick one line and roll with it. Now, technically, the buildable figures aren't straight display sets. If you look at most of them, they're not all 18 plus, they're like 12 plus, I think. And that's because, well, they are display sets, but they also have a lot of features in them, especially Chopper and R2-D2. But the other sets, like helmets and dioramas, I completely agree with. You could even throw the Starship collection in there as well. And while I don't think they should just pick one and roll with it, like you said, because I like most of these sets, I do think we are getting too many. I mean, I think they're going a bit overkill on the helmet sets and the midi-scale sets, especially the midi-scale sets as of recent. The Kylo Ren Command Shuttle just didn't need to be made. That set does not need to exist. It's pretty trash, it's overpriced, and nobody's going to be buying that thing. And honestly, I think the same could be said about Kylo Ren's helmet. As good as that set is, I just don't see many people buying this thing or hyping it up or talking about it at all. So it just makes me think that it kind of took up a spot for what could have been a better set. And honestly, collectively, for the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens, which is the reason they made those 2 sets, they should have just released something else. Just a Rey Speeder remake or a Kylo Ren versus Rey set remake would have worked a lot better. But no, they released these 2 18 plus sets that most people just aren't buying. And it kind of just goes back to what I said about buildable characters. I mean, most of the buildable characters are good. I like most of the midi-scale sets. I like most of the helmet sets, and I like most of the dioramas. We're just getting too many. Instead of LEGO releasing 3 or 4 sets from each sub-theme every year, I think we should just get 1 or 2. Turtle Channel says the Rebuild a Galaxy TIE Fighter and X-Wing is a very good set. And I'm sorry, just no, it's not. Obviously, this is subjective. If you like the set, you can like the set, and anyone else that likes the set too can like the set if they want. But I think this set is just overpriced garbage because of that TIE Fighter. The X-Wing is alright. I really like the shaping they were able to pull off on the nose area, but man, that TIE Fighter is just so ugly. It's easily the ugliest TIE Fighter LEGO has ever made. You got those massive green spring-loaded shooters that stick out the back and just look awful, and then you got the split sticker on top that's supposed to be the hatch, but it just doesn't look like the hatch, and it's ugly up there. And then not to mention the minifigure lineup besides that McDonald's droid that people are making memes about is just very forgettable. And on top of all of that, like I mentioned, this set's overpriced. So yeah, you can think this set is good, but I have to disagree. I think it's trash. Michael Cortez says young Boba is really not that bad. He just needs the old hairpiece. And I actually kind of agree with you to an extent. I touched on this in my review of the set. I think the young Boba figure himself just doesn't look bad. I mean, he's not ugly in any way. He's aesthetically pleasing. It's a fine looking figure. The only problem is it's just a very expensive set. I mean, this set costs $300 and it's just not accurate and not as good as the previous ones they've made. And that's that's why we complain about it, because LEGO just kind of downgraded it for seemingly no reason. The hairpiece, like you said, is definitely the worst part about that figure, but when speaking about the arms, while they don't look bad, they're just the wrong color, and they shouldn't be the wrong color for the price you're paying for this set. And again, it's just annoying to see LEGO downgrade from the last one we got back in 2017. And for all I cared, I think they should have just reused that same 2017 Boba Fett minifigure in this new set. This next one comes from Kona FN. He says, sequel sets aren't that bad, but people say they're bad because they're based off the sequels. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I've been saying this for a long time now. Most of the sequel sets that came out from 2015 to 2019 are very, very good sets. I mean, obviously there's a few duds here and there and some really bad sets as well, but most of them are very high quality and really awesome builds. I mean, most of the sets in that initial Force Awakens wave in 2015 were pretty much perfect, and then you have some other great ones here and there like the ATM-6 as well as the 2019 Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle. But like you said, since they're from the sequels, they kind of just leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But if you can look past that, these sets are really awesome. Andy Brick says the UCS Republic Gunship is the best UCS set ever made. And while that set is definitely good, I wouldn't go so far to say it's the best UCS set of all time. Of course, this is subjective, but there are UCS sets that I think are better, like the AT-AT, the Venator, the Razor Crest, the Imperial Shuttle, just to name a few. While this set is good, it looks incredible. I mean, I could definitely see it being a top 5 UCS set. I still just think there are some that are better than it, and therefore I don't think it's the best of all time. Donkey Man says the 2003 Cloud City isn't that great of a set and it's ridiculously overrated. And yes, I agree with you, and I think a lot of other people probably agree with you as well. Now, if you would have said this back in like 2022 when the hype of the set was actually peaking, people would have absolutely lost their minds and flamed you off the internet. But I think nowadays, especially as of recent in 2025, people are actually finally coming to terms with the fact that this set, besides the minifigures, is not that great. Now, don't get me wrong, the figure lineup is incredible. They were a huge advancement for LEGO minifigures back in the early 2000s, but the rest of the set, specifically the build, is just not that great. It's very dated, it has minimal play features, and it's not very appealing, and it definitely doesn't live up to all the hype that it was getting a few years ago. So yeah, I agree with your comment. Continuing on with the topic of overrated sets, Mega Ray Kwanzaa, I guess that's how you say your name, he says the AT-OT is ugly, and therefore the dropship and AT-OT set is one of the most overrated Star Wars sets. And yeah, I agree with you, and honestly, I think this set is kind of in the same boat as Cloud City. Not that these two sets are comparable, obviously this dropship is way better than the Cloud City. I just think it's in the same boat because most people are kind of actually finally coming to terms with the fact that this set in 2025 is fairly outdated. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still tons of people that think this is the greatest LEGO Star Wars set ever made, and I think at some point they're gonna realize it's not, but there's still a lot of them out there. But regardless though, I agree with you, this set is pretty dated in 2025, and like you said, it is mainly due to that AT-OT. That build is not as good as most people think it is. They just hype it up because it's the only AT-OT LEGO has made. Now, the dropship, on the other hand, is a bit of a different topic because while it is dated, it's not near as dated as the AT-OT, so therefore it kind of carries the hype of this set a little bit. But overall, as the years go on and this set gets older and older, I think most people are going to start agreeing with what you said here and realize this set is pretty dated and not as good as we think it is. This next one comes from Total Trooper Productions. He says UCS figures should stay exclusive. And man, you better watch out saying something like that with the current state of this community because it'd probably put a price on your head. But for real though, all jokes aside, with the current state of this community, this comment is very controversial. Although from a collector standpoint, I completely understand where you're coming from. While I personally don't care all too much if UCS figures are exclusive, well, unless LEGO says they're exclusive, then makes them not exclusive to raise prices on Bricklink, but that's a whole other story. Usually I don't care all too much, but again, from a collector standpoint, I understand where you're coming from because as collectors in a niche hobby, we're just kind of attracted to rare, expensive, or hard to get your hands on items. I think that's kind of common sense if you know anything about collecting. Rare items are just cool to own, and obviously exclusive figures in UCS sets are just more rare items. And if you're a diehard collector and like owning these rare items, it makes complete sense to me at least as to why you'd want these figures to stay exclusive. Oh, and I guess I should probably throw this out there too. We're talking about exclusive figures, not exclusive characters. I think having exclusive characters in expensive sets is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody should be able to have easy access to their favorite character in a cheap set or in an expensive set, either one. But the thing is, there can be different variations of these characters that make them unique minifigures. For instance, like different leg printing, or maybe this one has arm printing and this one doesn't have arm printing, or vice versa. Something that makes them a unique figure that technically makes it exclusive if it's only in one UCS set. So we're talking about exclusive figures, not exclusive characters. I just thought I might as well make that clear. This next one comes from Bricktap. He says big ATRTs are fun. And thank you so much for saying this because I 100% agree with you. I know everyone and their mother likes to dog on the oversized LEGO ATRTs, but I agree with with you. I personally think they look really cool. Well, besides the one in the 501st Battle Pack, I think that one's ugly, but the rest of them are actually really awesome builds, to me at least. I don't know what it is about them, they simply just look cool to me, especially in large numbers. They look awesome in armies. And yes, I know I'm a sucker for accuracy, and these obviously aren't accurate because they're way oversized, but with these ATRTs specifically, this is the one time when I can just throw accuracy out the window because I think they look awesome. This next one comes from Cole Wagner. He says, despite episode 3 being my favorite Star Wars movie, it has had the weakest sets out of episode 1 through 6. Episodes 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 have better sets for their movies. And while I definitely disagree with you, I would never say episode 3 has the weakest sets among all the original movies. I do understand where you're coming from, and I do understand why someone might think this. Compared to episode 1 and 2, episode 3 doesn't really seem to have that one S-tier standout kind of trophy set. For instance, episode 1 has the 2007 NTT, and then episode 2 has the 2013 gunship. You could say episode 3's trophy set is like the 2005 turbo tank or maybe the ultimate space battle, but I personally think those two sets don't really hold up to the MTT or the 2013 gunship. And then of course the original trilogy obviously gets all the UCS sets. So again, it does make sense as to why you'd think episode 3 has the weakest sets. I mean, I've kind of thought this too because there really isn't that one standout trophy set. However, it does have a very consistent lineup of great play sets. From all the sets we got in 2005 to all the sets we got in 2014, the consistency with episode 3's play sets is pretty impressive, so that's why I would never say it has the weakest lineup out of all the original 6 movies. But like I said, it doesn't have that one standout set like episode 1 and 2, but honestly, the reason for that is just because all these sets are so consistent that there isn't really one that stands out from the rest because they're all comparably so good. Nolas says, the 10221 UCS Super Star Destroyer is overrated, saying it as someone who has owned it. It doesn't look good on display because it's so flat, and it's hard to display because of its size. Only good part about it is the minifigures. And I'm not gonna lie, I agree with you. As cool as this set is, I do have to admit, it is pretty bland. And obviously, you could say that really about every LEGO Star Wars Star Destroyer or Super Star Destroyer, but I think this one is really the blandest and most boring looking out of the bunch. There's really no detail at all in the panels. They could have mixed it up with a few tiles here and there just to add some sort of texture, but no, it's literally just straight studs. And honestly, you might as well just throw this set in the same boat as Cloud City and the Dropship, because I don't think many people realize that this set is just pretty bland. I'm not saying that means it's bad, I mean it's a cool build, it just could have some more detail in the panels. And because of that, I honestly really hope LEGO remakes this set soon, because a new UCS Super Star Destroyer would be freaking awesome. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you want to be featured next week, make sure to leave your hot takes down in the comments below. Again, try to make sure they're actually good hot takes. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you see on the screen right now.